Hello and welcome into this week's edition of Your Next Favorite Driver right here on Racing News Now. As always, I'm your host, Garth Allen. Thank you once again for joining me today. If this is your first time catching a Racing News Now video, consider going down below to hit that subscribe button. It is free to do. We're currently in our hashtag Race to 1K. The quicker we get to 1,000 subscribers, the quicker YouTube will let us do mobile live streaming, which will vastly improve both the quality and quantity of coverage we're able to give you when we get back to the track. Today's edition of Your Next Favorite Driver features a prominent up-and-coming female driver in the world of NASCAR. She currently drives for Bill McAnally Racing in the ARCA Menard Series West. Made the transition this year from dirt track racing into the stock car world. Had a bit of a slow start to the year, but has definitely picked up the performance lately and is proving that she knows what she's doing behind the wheel of a stock car. We're joined today by Miss Holley Hollan. We're going to get to know her on a bit more of a personal level, let you know a little bit more about her outside of her racing, and get to know her racing past as well. So, without further ado, let's head over to that interview and get to know Miss Holley Hollan. Now we're joined by driver for Bill McAnally Racing in the ARCA Menard Series West, Holley Hollan. Holley, how are you doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So the point of this show here on Your Next Favorite Driver is for folks to kind of get to know you a little more on a personal level rather than just what you've done on the track. So let's dive into that, and we'll start from the very beginning. How did you get started in racing?
So I started racing when I was 5. I was always around racing. My dad raced. My mom drag raced, and that's actually how they met. And so I was always at a racetrack growing up. And then as soon as I saw kids my age racing, it's like, that's what I want to do. I want to stop playing in the dirt and actually go race. And so I started racing junior sprints when I was 5. I've always raced dirt track stuff until this year. So I raced at my parents' home track at Port City and got a track championship and just kind of moved up the ranks in micros, and then started racing midgets for Keith Kunz Motorsports once I got in with Toyota Racing Development, and then went and tested with Bill McAnally Racing last November, and then that kind of leads up to where we are now. So I did a lot of dirt racing leading up to this point, and then starting a whole new journey.
Well, so that kind of leads into a question I was going to ask a little later then. So how did you end up on the stock car side of things then? You mentioned your mom drag race. So how did you get into this kind of thing?
Well, I actually had no connections in NASCAR, the pavement world, anything before I got in with Toyota Racing Development. I actually saw a lot of what Jack Irving and TRD did with Christopher Bell, and that kind of opened my eyes to that it was even a possibility for me to take that transition with a development team like Toyota. And so that's when I started to really pursue it and started racing micros. The year kind of around when Toyota started to realize a little bit of who I was, I ran like 120 races. I was racing 4 or 5 nights every week, 2 or 3 different classes every night. It was awesome. I was going all over the place racing. And so it was a lot of fun just to go race all the time and do the best I could. And so I knew that getting in with Toyota, they were really the only manufacturer that took drivers from dirt to pavement. And so it ended up working out really well for us. I'm really fortunate for everything that Toyota has done for me and opening doors for me that I could never open on my own with all of the opportunity that they have in the pavement world.
How do you keep any kind of a life going when you're doing 120 races a year? Or does racing just become your life at that point?
Yes, it definitely has. I was 15 years old when I did that. I started online school halfway through my freshman year of high school and just did that, worked on my race car all the time and went racing. So I've been really lucky to be able to pretty much chase this dream for the last five years solid. Just focus on just racing. I did do my school, graduated high school, everything like that, but I just wanted to race, and whatever it took to be able to pursue that, I was willing to do.
So who was your favorite driver growing up?
Donnie Ray Crawford was definitely one of my favorite drivers growing up. Obviously, he lost his life when I was pretty young, and so that was a little bit hard on me with him being my idol and me being so young. It was really hard for me to understand, but that's always been my quick answer, is that he is definitely, he was my favorite driver. I got to watch him at Port City Raceway, and always looked up to him. Obviously, my dad raced too, and so it was a little bit of controversy when I cheered for one over the other, but that's definitely my idol growing up.
Nice. So, with such a diverse background now with the dirt track side of things and now on the pavement, what's your favorite track you've had? Because probably got a lot to pick from at this point.
Yes, for sure. Definitely one of my favorite midget tracks is Jacksonville Speedway in Illinois. That's definitely high up there for me. I raced a lot of races there and just got to be really comfortable with the track. In the pavement stuff, I liked the Bull Ring at Vegas a lot. And then I like New Smyrna too. I just went there so early. Like that was my first ARCA race. And I think I like Vegas so much because I actually got to go there twice and
Right.
felt a little bit more comfortable the second time. But I haven't been to enough pavement tracks, I feel like, to really like one. I'm excited to go to Roseville this weekend. That's definitely one I'm looking forward to because I did quite a bit of late model racing there this year leading up to the ARCA race there this weekend. So I am excited about that one because I'm familiar with it.
Okay. So, what's your most memorable moment you've had in your career thus far?
Man, it was definitely big for me. Within about 3 weeks is when I went to go test for Venturini, and then a couple weeks later is when I went to go test for BMR. And I have to say that's definitely like the most wow moments I've had. Is getting to be able to do those two things were huge for me, and I was just super stoked. And I was definitely the most nervous I'd ever been, and definitely the most excited. It was like I felt every emotion going into a test like that. And so I enjoyed that. I kept up with all of BMR's racing and Venturini's racing while I was racing midgets for Keith Kunz last year. And it was always just something I wanted to do. And so just getting the opportunity to test with those two teams pretty much back to back was like a dream come true for me. I had so much fun racing for Keith Kunz Motorsports last year as well. I raced about 70 midget races last year, and just it was awesome. It was a once in a lifetime experience. You know, there's a lot of people that just dream of getting to go race with Keith Kunz, and to be able to do it for a full year was really cool. And so those were definitely some highs, and just with all the emotions going into a lot of those.
So I guess you could say it's a bit of a surreal feeling to get to drive and test for all those different big name teams like that.
Yes, for sure. Just having opportunities that I never would have dreamed that I would have is just very humbling, and just opens your eyes to what surrounding yourself with good people can do. And that's exactly what Jack Irving, Tyler Gibbs, and everyone at Toyota has done. It's definitely a real, like, it's real when people say that it feels like being more part of a family than just a team. And I've definitely seen that these last couple of years.
So what made you actually decide to make that switch from the dirt track side of thing to stock cars? What was the defining moment there?
I really enjoyed when I went testing. I liked the atmosphere of the teams. I've always, it's been my dream ever since I realized, I guess it's been my dream, and then it became one of my really big goals when I saw what they did with Christopher, and I realized, you know, wow, if I really put my heart into this and put my all into this, it could be real for me too, to go from dirt to pavement. And so I looked up to Danica Patrick a lot when I was younger and when I was racing in the dirt stuff, but I never really saw it as it could be one of my goals to get to that level, because I just didn't know anyone in that world, and I didn't really think it was very realistic for me. And so being able to make that transition was just huge for me. And I think I was way ready for it before I even got the opportunity. And that's something that, you know, I just tried to be ready to race 150 laps before it was even time for me to race 150 laps with the midget stuff, racing 30 laps a race, stuff like that. So just training hard and in worse conditions, even before I was brought into the pavement world, just being prepared for it once I got the opportunity. Because once I started testing for teams, I kind of realized, like, wow, this could really happen. And just being ready for that moment when it came time, I felt like was really big for me last year.
So let's look at this season as a whole for you at BMR. I don't think it's any secret that you had a little bit of struggles there in the beginning of the season, but the performance definitely seems to have turned around here of late, even if maybe the luck hasn't always been there. What's the biggest thing you've learned that's helped you improve in that stock car this year?
For sure. I think one with my first race being on the East Coast and being with the toughest competition was very tough. But I never raced much late model stuff before this. I've never done anything more than 2 or 3 races, late model races here or there before this. So just making the jump straight to ARCA was obviously a huge step and a leap of faith from Toyota and Bill McAnally. And so the tests that I did with them were successful. And so I knew that I was capable of doing it. I just knew that it was going to take time, and only having 13 races to make it happen, I knew that we needed to kind of hit the ground running with it. And so I guess I didn't realize how much progress I had from New Smyrna until current, until I went back to the same track that I had raced at before. And so going back to Vegas was definitely like a full circle moment for me. Like, wow, here in February, I was getting lapped and now we're running third. You know what I mean? And
Right.
definitely had a good opportunity, I think, to run second. Gracie was obviously really good there. But despite what happened at the end of the race and blowing a tire and having those issues towards the end, it definitely helped with my confidence. And I think with everyone, the team, I got to work with Tony Hirschman back in February there as well. And so he got to be my spotter again, and just hearing his feedback from everything that had changed from February until last month was definitely huge. And so I think that once you just start racing all the time and you're always going to a different place and you're always kind of starting over every time you go somewhere, being able to go to the same place again and just realize how much progress I had made and the team had made and we had made together was huge, because we were running the same car. We had been there before. And so you just, moments like that definitely help with the confidence. And I have more confidence going into this next weekend at Roseville and Kern than I have all year.
Okay. So what's your ultimate goal in racing? What do you want to be able to say you've done once your career is over?
A big thing for me is just winning at levels before moving to the next. That's one that I've been really fortunate to move through the ranks quickly and, skipping quite a few steps going from just straight from midgets to ARCA. But I really haven't gotten to slow down a little bit and win races and be successful before going to the next level. And so midget racing was really tough last year. There's a lot of competition. It's really hard to win races. And so I obviously agreed with the decision of not staying there if going to Pavement was the ultimate goal. And so I think just winning ARCA races before going to the next level and just continue going through the ranks, but winning races along the way. Obviously, it's every racer's dream to get to Cup and to win races and to be able to race for a living. But I think just being competitive at every level has always been important to me. And it's fun to win races. So
Yeah, definitely. So if you weren't racing, what would you do? What do you feel you have the skill set to do outside of racing?
I don't know. I've kind of always thought that I could be a dentist.
Okay.
That's kind of been something that I have always thought that I would be good at. I feel like I'm pretty good with people. I like being around kids, all of that fun stuff. So I could probably see myself being a dentist, but we'll focus on racing right now.
All right. Holley the dentist. I like it. All right. So if you could pick any one driver in NASCAR history to, or I guess even since you've got the dirt background, we'll throw dirt racing into this too. If you could pick any driver in that history to 1v1, who would it be and why?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Well, there's a lot of different directions you could go with this. Somebody you want to learn something from, somebody you just didn't like and you just want the chance to beat them.
Yeah. This kind of goes back to who my idol was, but I never got to race against Donnie Ray. But I always sat there and listened to everything that he had to say, trying to teach me, because I was so much younger than he was and in lower classes than him. And so it would be fun to get to race against him. I got to watch him race against my dad and stuff. But probably him. I've got to race against so many cool people that it's tough. Tough to think of who else.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's a good answer. We'll go with that. So, what's one interesting thing about you that nobody knows, or maybe not a lot of people know?
I feel like a lot of people know a lot. There's people that say stuff I didn't even know about myself, and people know about me.
Nice.
Well, I mean, it's on my social media, but I'm an aunt.
Okay.
So I'm an aunt, and I don't know what no one knows. I don't like bacon.
Oh, there you go. That's a good one.
That's one. I don't like bacon.
What is it about bacon? Bacon's awesome.
I don't know. It's not even like being a health freak or anything. I really never liked it.
Huh.
Never liked bacon. I ordered my wrap without bacon last night, so that's what made me think about that. Because
Nice.
people think I'm crazy for not liking bacon. And I love ice cream. I hate bacon,
Okay.
love ice cream.
Well, you got 1 point there, at least for liking ice cream.
Yep.
All right, so now to end off here, we're going to play a little bit of this or that. Have you ever played this or that before?
Yes.
Okay, so we're just going to throw some things at you rapid fire here. If you want to explain why you picked what you picked, you can, but you don't have to.
Okay.
So we'll start with a softball here. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Okay. Dirt track or pavement?
Had to do it to me.
Yep.
I don't know. I like a lot about each. Dirt
Okay.
racing, it's just where I came from, and I've always loved it. But I really am enjoying the pavement stuff too. So
Okay.
gotta be a little in between with that one.
Okay, that's fair enough. I'll give you that one. Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Okay. Instagram or Twitter?
I've kind of started to be more of a Twitter,
Really?
but
Okay.
I've always liked Instagram more. I don't like seeing all the negative stuff. So I think I veered toward being Twitter a little bit more, and then everything happened this year, and I'm like back to Instagram. 'Cause,
Right.
people are just so much nicer on Instagram.
Yeah, I know.
Twitter is just I don't know if it's easier to make fake accounts, easier for people not to find out who you are, but people are ruthless on Twitter. So I guess Instagram now.
Okay. I mean, if it weren't pretty much required for me to have a Twitter in this line of work, I wouldn't have one.
I definitely agree with you.
Yeah. Let's see here. What do I have next? Horror or comedy movie?
Ooh. I like horror movies,
Okay.
but I cannot be alone.
Okay.
I can't watch it alone. So I guess most of the time I watch a comedy movie. I went through a haunted house this last weekend, and it freaked me out. So I probably will not watch a horror movie for the rest of the year. So
Oh, you
probably
got to. We're getting close to Halloween. You got to have the
I
horror
know.
movie.
That haunted house got me.
Yeah.
Got me good.
What do I have next here? Summer or winter?
Summer.
Okay. Mountains or beach?
Beach. 100%. I've never been snowboarding or skiing before, though, so I don't know if that's necessarily fair.
Okay.
But I do love the ocean, water, summer.
Okay.
So I am going to give the mountains a fair try, but for now, it's the beach.
Okay. Fair enough. 1 million Instagram followers or $100,000?
$100,000.
Yeah?
For sure.
Pretty sure with 1 million Instagram followers, you'd be making close to that much, though.
Maybe. But the 100,000 is guaranteed.
Well, that's
the
true.
followers are just. I mean, if I could interact with 1 million people,
Well,
and
Yeah.
that would be cool.
Yeah. Okay. Aquarium or zoo?
But, ooh, aquarium.
Okay. Ferrari or Lamborghini?
Ferrari. I've always liked Ferraris.
Yeah. Okay. And I think that was the last one I had on here. Oh, we'll do this one too. Work at SpaceX or Google?
Google.
Okay. Why?
I think it'd be cool to see what people Googled.
Yeah?
Because, like, I go to type something in, and, like, people have already Googled 100 things on the subject
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to figure out. So I think it'd be interesting to see what all people actually Googled. Because I have yet to look for something on Google and not find it.
Okay.
It may
Fair
not
enough.
be accurate, but I found it.
That's true.
And you could be completely wrong and still have your job.
Yeah. Pretty much. Well, you could throw that into Wikipedia too, though.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Well, I think that's about it. I know you've got 3 ARCA West races left this year. Do you have anything else on your schedule that anybody can see yet this year?
I do not. I don't have anything left besides the 3 ARCA races, so
Okay.
that's all I got.
All right. And where can people find you? Either social media, website, what have you?
It's Holley Hollan, Holley, Hollan. Pretty simple.
All right.
That's all my social media.
Perfect. Easy enough.
Yes.
All right. So I think that's going to do it. Hopefully we gained you a few more fans today from getting to see a little bit more of a personal side of you. So thanks for joining us today, Holley, and good luck in the rest of the ARCA West season.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Again, we want to thank Holley for coming on today. It was so much fun talking to her and getting to know her a little bit more outside of what she has done on the track. Maybe this has convinced you that she is your next favorite driver. That is the point of this show after all. But that's going to do it for today's Your Next Favorite Driver. Stay tuned next week on Thursday once again for the 3rd episode of Season 2 of Your Next Favorite Driver. We got a lot of drivers in the pipeline for this show that we have pulled together for this for you. So we got a lot of exciting chats coming up, letting you get to know some of these drivers a little bit better. So definitely be sure to tune in next Thursday for the next one. As always, we want to thank our Patreon supporter, Regional Manager William Holmes. Thank you, as always, for your support. It is greatly appreciated. If you'd like to be a patron of RNN, the link is down below in the description, patreon.com/racingnewsnow. But that's going to about do it for this edition of Your Next Favorite Driver. As always, I'm Garth Allen for Racing News Now.